screen, and welcome everyone officially to today's webinar, Ways to Empower Contact Center Advisors. I'm Rachel and I'm going to be your webinar chairperson today. Delighted to welcome our panel, a mixture of older faces and, well, not older faces.
Oh no, go on, you can
traditional ones. Welcome back, Neris, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, my established face. Hi, everyone. My name's Neris Caulfield from Injection Consulting. So nearly 20 years in operations, in outsourcing, and since then, for the last 6 years, running my own consultancy, helping businesses choose the right technology to drive their contact center outcomes.
Brilliant. Well, welcome back, Neris, is what I was trying to say. And welcome, Frank Sherlock from Core Miner. Welcome back to our webinar programme.
Thank you, Rachel. I think you may have been referring to me when you had the faux pas on older faces.
No, never.
Yeah, I'm Frank Sherlock. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Neris and Benedict, for helping out with the webinar. I'm the General Manager for Core Miner. Core Miner, an engagement analytics company. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about how technology can help with agent performance, agent empowerment and coaching. Brilliant.
Well, we look forward to that. And also delighted to welcome to her first webinar with us, Benedict Miranda from Cytomax Group. Welcome to the webinar.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Benedict Miranda. I'm the General Manager for Cytomax Group for Portugal, Italy and Greece. And I will speak a little bit about building communities to support our frontline associates.
Brilliant. Well, we look forward to that. Before we get into the presentations, I just want to do some housekeeping. A reminder that we are taking a recording of today's webinar, and that will be available later on this afternoon on the following link, callcenterhelper.com/recorded-webinars. And there is a very big discussion, lots of discussion going on in our chat room. So if you want to join in the discussion today, you just need to log in to callcenterhelper.com/chat, or we have a nice little shorthand address, which is just cch.chat. You need to put in your first name and your email address and you'll be able to come in. It is in a separate window, but hopefully if you've got a big screen, you can put them side by side, or a lot of people like to put them on their mobile phones and carry on the discussion that way. So a few added benefits of being in the chat room is that you can download a copy of all our speakers' slides. So you just need to click this link up here, and also we have we'll be coming to our quiz about halfway through the webinar, and you need to be in the chat room to take part. We're also running our very successful champagne or box of chocolates for best tip. We can also do an Amazon gift card and everything. You just need to use #question to ask our panel a question, or #tip to share your top tips for empowering contact center advisors. So delighted to kick off the webinar and hand over the baton to Neris, if you wanted to take through your slides.
Okay, can you see my slides?
Not quite yet.
Yes. Okay.
Perfect. Just need to put them in full screen.
I am nearly there.
There we go.
Hi, everybody. So thank you ever so much for inviting me onto this webinar, Rachel. And if you hear my dog snoring in the background, well, that's just one of the benefits of working from home. He's really loud next to me. So yeah, I guess first and foremost, where's your motivation? We're not there yet in terms of reflecting on the magnitude of what the last 12 months has meant to us personally and meant to our business and our industry. And I have to say, personally, I'm a bit fed up. I joined contact centers 25 years ago and the thing that really I love about contact centers is they're full of people talking to people. And I miss them dreadfully. I'm very lucky in my job. I get to go out and see lots of different contact centers. So I haven't seen a colleague for over a year now, and everything is done in this format. So it's really quite important to think about, well, where am I and how does that impact on how I'm being able to support my agent community? And I guess if you think about Love Island, if you don't watch Love Island, well, what you're doing with your summer, but fundamentally, they are in a very intense environment where they're together all the time. And what we tend to see when they come out of the familiarity and the proximity of the villa is that unless they're Molly, May and Tommy, their relationship they split up, because that proximity, that familiarity isn't there anymore. And in order to deliver and keep maintaining that relationship, they have to gear shift. They have to think about how they now address their lines of communication. And that's exactly the same as what's happened. Presuming a lot of you have moved from a centre to a now home work environment, it's a real shift in the dynamic of what was expected in terms of your relationship skills as managers to where you're at now. So a bit of pathos here. As I say, I get to go out and judge contact centres, so the best in the industry, and audit them. And I've probably, about 300 or so I've been into, and they're amazing places. And the best of them invest heavily into recognising that it's an environment where there is a need to galvanize people, to motivate people. It's generally, the average age of contact center agents is down in the 20s. So unsurprisingly, there's a lot of fun to be had in contact centers. So how do you emulate all of those things that happen in contact centers? And Benedict is going to talk you through a couple of those ideas. But how do you keep that sense of team that is absolutely vital? Because let's not forget, it's not an easy job being a contact center agent, or just being in a contact center with the relentless nature of delivering. So I guess the thing that I've seen with the contact centres that I continue to audit and to continue to judge, and that's all being now done remotely, is that the adaptation into a new world works best when there is a complete alignment between people, process and technology. When you're in your contact centre, sometimes the technology is not best ever. Sometimes it doesn't expose gaps that now we have definitely been exposed to. So not having collaboration tools, not having tools that can really give you insight is being really exposed. And culturally, if you haven't had that right in the past, now's time to fill those gaps, because again, those are the contact centers that are winning on employee engagement and customer experience. They are recognizing the needs of their people, and if they haven't got all the measures in place to support them, they're filling those gaps very quickly. So I guess the next point is asking to go over to Rachel to do a poll, so we can understand from you as an audience what's changed in the last 12 months. How's your world changed?
Yeah, so I'm just going to launch a poll now. So it is, which of the following statements applies to your contact centre? So it's multiple choice. Over the past year, ... we have reduced the number of metrics we use to measure agent performance. We've changed our management focus and style. We've learnt to fail fast and continue to learn. Or the business has realised how critical the agents are. So which of the following statements applies over the past year? So Neris, what do you think is going to kind of...
I'm hoping that everybody puts the business has realised how critical the agents are. I think it's been the year for the agents, and the fact that they are front and centre of an organisation, all the risk and all the benefit of that engagement has been sitting with the agents. Voice channel has been really dominant from the customers, and so it's been all on the agents. So hopefully everybody is going to say, yeah, there's been a real show from C-suite level across the business that these are the guys that are front and center and important. And then I guess there might be a bit of a mix across the others.
I will end it and share the results with you. So 59% saying we've changed our management focus and style, 45% saying the business has realised how critical the agents are, 21% saying we've learnt to fail fast and continue to learn, and 15% saying we've reduced the number of metrics. Disappointed?
Yeah, really disappointed. Rubbish. So, yeah, I mean, it's disappointing that only 45% have realised how the critical the agents are. You know, message from the CEO or somebody in the C-suite would be really good to show those agents they're vital. Also, the top one's quite interesting because, and Frank's going to obviously talk about this later, but what I've seen again in those that have shifted and recognized that actually we can't just focus on the metrics that used to serve us well. It's really time to do a gear shift and overhaul what used to be important and what's now important. So quality and coaching has been somewhat replaced by supporting agents and their well-being, and you've still got to deliver all of that. That doesn't mean quality is you can get rid of it and say, oh, it doesn't matter about quality. You just need to find tools and ways to do it so you can deliver the part that your agents need. So yeah, slightly disappointing with that.
Well, your top tip, first tip for the webinar then, Neris.
My first tip for the webinar is have a look at your metrics. Have a look at your metrics and then go and tell your MD to write a letter email to the agents to tell them how important they are. There's two in one. So am I still screen sharing? Can I still?
You are, yes.
Oh, I don't think I can. Oh, hang on one second. Something's happened. Oh, there we go. So very quickly now, I'm just going to talk about emotional intelligence. Now, those of you that are team leaders or managers, you'll know how vital emotional intelligence is. And on days when you can come in and you can see your agents slump their shoulders down, it's really obvious that you need to go and give a physical support to those agents. Now we're remote and I've managed remote agents. It's a lot different, and your EQ has to raise its game a lot. So you need to be aware of who you've got in your team, their good days and their bad days. And the insights is the tool that I think is the easiest way of thinking about your team, the dynamic you've got in your team, and yourself. So I recognize myself as red and yellow, and then I can then look out and I always think of people, oh, they're a bit green or they're a bit blue. And it really helps with your understanding and appreciation of the fact that people are different, and no more so than in this environment. So when they're working from home. And the other thing is that is being sandwiched with the needs and demands and emotional volatility of the customers who are calling, because they're obviously experiencing everything that's going along in the world, married with exactly the same potential volatility that your agents are explaining. So it's no good anymore to just have a huddle in the morning and a checkpoint in the morning. There needs to be some points throughout the day where there is that touch point going on, recognizing this up and down nature of the job and how hard it really is. And managers, whereas we'd all sit in huddles and we'd go over the daily SLAs and quality management scores in old world, you've got to be a one-to-one manager, and you've got to think about the context of your agents, and you've got to think, have they got pets that might be snoring? Have they got kids that might be demanding? What does their office world look like? Are they sitting in a corridor to be nearer the Wi-Fi? And obviously mental health is really important, and there's a direct correlation between their mental health, their ability to perform, and therefore their ability to deliver a customer experience. And if you don't feel armed and supported in being able to understand that really important element, then you need to reach out to other departments within your organization to help you determine mental health challenges and understand how to support that resilience. Thanks, Charles. And then you can talk about quality and performance. Same with your team. You know, first and foremost, you've got to work out how to galvanize and how to emulate before you start sharing information, before you start talking about the operation. So do something fun, cooking classes, all of those types of things are going on out in the industry to really try and emulate that sense of team. So before I move off, I would just say, yeah, think about doing emotional intelligence tests for your team. Look at your management information suite and consider the relevance now. I'm loving the fact that people are sort of getting rid of SLAs and recognizing that I just need to deliver good service. Talk to your agents about what they need. And I do not mean do your employee survey once a year. This is really about getting under the skin of it. So you can use a quantifiable way, a survey, but try using something like an ERIC model and get really under the skin of what it is they need from you and what it is they need from your business in order to do a good job. So really is the time of the agent, the time of recognizing their needs in order to retain them and make sure that they're fired up to deliver really good, exceptional customer experience.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Neris. I'm just going to share my screen. So we'd like to ask the audience, what did you like best about Neris's presentation? So if you just wanted to add that into the chat room. Neris, brilliant presentation. I really liked this is a new world. Let's not try to emulate what we did in the contact center. This is actually very different. So, you know, thinking about new metrics, what we should and shouldn't be measuring, you know, the emotional intelligence and how critical it is as a team leader resource, you know, understanding different personality types, you know, the up and down nature of the world, you know, not just your employees, but your customers are dealing with all these things as well. And also love the Love Island reference that, you know, communication is everything, especially now to keep it up. So thank you very much for that, Neris. So the chat room, we're coming over to it. So lots going on. We've had a question in from Amy who said, what can be done once burnout has already occurred? Our agents are struggling daily, unfortunately, affecting their performance and the customer's experience. Neris, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this one.
Yeah, that's really tough, isn't it? Because you know it's happening and you just need to give them time out and you just need to ask them what it is they need from you in order to be able to re-emerge and, you know, ignite their ability to deliver. Because yeah, there are a lot of agents, you know, I speak to a lot of agents in sessions and they are struggling, they really are. So unfortunately there's no golden, you know, there were not one answer to it, but I think just asking them those questions, using that ERIC model, what do you want to come out of your working day? Can you just route easy calls to them for a while? What is it that you can do practically to support those agents? And potentially, how can you give them a bit of time out?
Yeah, thank you. Benedict, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this question?
I would say that the same, that reinforce what Neri said. I think it's very important that we keep the conversation going with our associates and that we are open and that they see that we are here to support them. We have some programs within Cytel which are offering some psychological support, so they know that they have a hotline that they can call, also to get some help from specialists if they need. But I think that the most important thing is to maintain the conversation going between the company and its associates. Brilliant. Being close to them, so their managers being close to them is something which is really important.
Brilliant, thank you very much both. So we've had a tip sent in from Nicole who said, we have a social Friday where the team can join in with a drink. There's a theme for each week, so people have something to speak about. Past themes we've had is first place to visit after this pandemic, favourite toy, favourite Netflix show. We found that it really helps to wind down and to have something to look forward to. Frank, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think that, you know, Neris and Benedita, you know, being in and around that environment each and every day. I think taking time out, understanding what makes people tick down to the individual level is really important, and doing things like this, like having a break, having a virtual huddle almost that you used to have on the contact center floor, and doing something that's not work related. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, first place to visit after this pandemic. I'm sure we've all got the first places we want to visit.
Where's yours then, Frank?
Well, I think we all want to visit the pub for those of us who drink, but I like my football as well, so I'm looking forward to getting back to watch Everton play.
Okay. So we've had a tip in from Lindsay who said, we've implemented flexible shifts, incentives for exceeding metrics, work from home from some agents, monthly team lunches and parties. So I think this is possibly, I think it's a few coming through. So Nicole said, we have a WhatsApp group which the team use throughout the day to communicate about work or just for a chat. It puts a little bit of relief on the team if they need 5 minutes away from the phone. And Mandy said, WhatsApp groups for help, I need to talk for team leaders and staff, team site for team leaders to respond to us for help, on the go support as it were. Neris, what are your thoughts about these?
Yeah, it's quite interesting with WhatsApp because it's a bit like working from home or working in your bedroom. Where is the boundary line? So I think WhatsApp is a great tool, but there are business tools that deliver the same sort of thing, and then the lines aren't as blurred because, yeah, I mean, if you're a close team, you're a close team. And I've worked with teams that are really close and they love being in each other's lives all day, every day, but not all teams are like that. And so you don't want to feel obligated to be part of that when it's your weekend or it's your evening out. So there's some real merit in that, but I think there's better tools that are very business focused that allow for that consistent, IM communication, chat, video, etc. But without those, WhatsApp's a good alternative.
Thank you. So Nicole's asked a question. How do you monitor agents when you can tell that they're not working as hard as others, taking extended breaks, sounding as though they're not ready for the call when answering the call? Frank, I don't know if this is a technology solution.
There's certainly technology aspects, I think, to how you could see this. And, we look at things like, if you look at the scores and the trends for dissatisfaction or satisfaction, for empathy and ownership, and you see that someone who is perhaps an A-grade player for, always shows excellent empathetic skills, takes ownership of problems, and you see that they're tailing off. You see them, you can analytics will allow you to intervene at the most appropriate point rather than wait for that problem to escalate and get worse.
Well, I think, as you can see, we've got lots of questions coming in, but I think we'll hand over to Frank for your presentation, but we will be coming back to the top tips, so don't worry. So Frank, I don't know if you wanted to put up your slides.
I will have a go. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Not quite yet.
No?
No. Do you want to try sharing again?
I will try sharing again.
There we go. And back to the beginning. There we go. Okay.
So thanks Neris, and thanks to the audience for those questions. Really, some really insightful questions coming through from the audience. I'm going to talk a little bit about technology and how we can help with some of the points that Neris and later on Benedita will be talking about. I think we'd all agree that the happy and engaged employees provide a better customer experience. Let's spend a few moments just reflecting on the work from home environment or the hybrid environment, whichever way we look at it. I think work from home is here to stay for the foreseeable future, and I think it creates challenges that we've touched upon already around employee engagement, morale, and performance. A couple of examples here on the slide, but as the environment's going to continue to be hybrid, how do you ensure that the people who manage and supervise the agents within the contact center do so in a consistent manner so performance is managed consistently and with allowances for the work from home and the in contact center agents. That when your agents are working from home, how do you identify some of the sort of systemic and personal issues and challenges that are presented to those agents? So, for example, a personal challenge might be something as simple as their equipment. They're not getting the best quality audio. They're getting lots of understandability issues because of equipment. Whereas a systemic challenge might be something along unnecessary or longer hold and transfer times, because it's harder to access the data to support that interaction, or it's more difficult perhaps to consult with a colleague for help and advice when you're working from home. Neris talked about emotional well-being, and it's really important about how do you identify these agents who perhaps are struggling. I referenced in answer to the question earlier about the higher levels of dissatisfaction, lower levels of empathy and ownership, looking for signs that performance is tailing off around some of these emotional and connected behaviors. And how do you create a coaching system really that works for sharing best practice amongst agents to stimulate self-coaching, to stimulate gaming and performance within a mixed environment? So if we accept that the nirvana isn't just about empowering agents, it's having empowered them, how do you have how do you monitor the processes, the procedures and the policies that you've put in place in order to coach and guide the agents to the best possible outcomes for the agents and for the consumer? And this here comes from Harvard Business Review. They looked at 4 different coaching styles, from the teacher manager basing feedback on their own experience, the always on manager who's providing continual coaching, all they're doing all day long is coaching, the connector manager, and we'll talk about the connector manager in a few moments, and the cheerleader manager, the guy or girl that takes a handoff approach but always delivers positive feedback. So when the Harvard Business Review looked at these coaching styles, surprisingly enough, you'd think on this, always on, that looks really good. But actually the always on manager, the impact on employee performance, there was a degradation in employee performance from effectively over coaching, over generalizing that coaching to degrade performance by up to 8%. And the Harvard review said the best management style, the best coaching style is one of the connector manager. What the connector manager do is spends time to really understand the individual needs to provide really effective but targeted and focused coaching and guidance based on those individual needs. And the impact is clearly on the slide here. High performers, employee engagement increased by up to 40%, and the overall performance of employees improved by up to 26%. But the challenge I think you've got with providing within contact centers, providing this highly focused and targeted coaching is how can you do that when you're only monitoring a small percentage of the interactions that the agents are having with consumers? And that's, I think, where technology like ours in interaction analytics comes into play. So what does interaction analytics do? Very simply, if you look at the bell curve here in the middle, it's the disbursement of calls within a contact center. I don't think it matters whether it's in customer service, whether it's in sales, whether it's in operations. Most contact centers have a bell curve that says the vast majority of calls and interactions that happen within that contact center are actually average. I don't mean average in a demeaning way. When I talk about average, I mean that there's nothing particularly insightful about the average interaction that will help improve and inform business process. And there's nothing more importantly that's particularly coachable in average interactions that will help to improve agent performance and to identify training and development needs. Often we see with low-level sampling, statistically, you're more likely than not to be sampling and trying to provide guidance and feedback based on the average. Whereas what you really want to do is go to the left and right-hand side of this slide. You know, capture what does good look like? What are the behaviors, the words, the phrases, the style that leads to high customer sat, high quality interactions, you know, efficiency, low customer effort, good business outcomes in a compliant manner. Also on the left-hand side, what does bad look like? What are the things that we need to eliminate, the things that we need to train and coach against, the things that drive poor customer satisfaction, long hold times, frustration, anger, poor customer experience? And what engagement analytics really does is allows you to automatically analyze and score and gain actionable insight to allow you to get to these outliers. Because when you can get to these outliers on the left and right hand side, the poor and the excellent, when you can capture that at scale, you can really make a difference. And when you're doing it for all of my calls, the feedback and coaching that you're going to give me isn't based on the 5, 10, 20 calls per week or per month. It's based on all of my calls. So you will be able to provide that really targeted and effective coaching that we referred to on the previous slide, which is what the Connector Manager needs to be able to do. In Coal Miner, we don't believe that analytics should just be the domain of the data scientists or the business intelligence or the market intelligence team. We think providing feedback from call analysis should be put in the hands of the people who can make the biggest difference. That's the coaches, the supervisors, even the agents themselves. So we have a tool in our software called Coach, which is a web-based portal that reflects the hierarchy of your organization by site, by team, by line of business. And you can provide structured feedback to a supervisor for their group of agents to allow them to really get to that nirvana of providing targeted and focused coaching. We do this. There was a build out on this slide I wasn't expecting, but hey. So what does Coach really do? So it provides these role-based dashboards. So it's not one size fits all. Individual functions or lines of business or departments will have different roles, will require different dashboards and different insight. We also provide the means of capturing both the voice of the customer and the voice of the agent. So you've got this objective awareness from both sides of every interaction. The ability to communicate, to use the Coach tool to have effective bi-directional workflow dialogue, to share with the agents in the team, you know, examples of best practice, to share the audios, to share the transcripts, to share the scores. And this approach of being able to provide analytically driven feedback means that everyone is being treated consistently. So you've got the benefits of holistic analysis, consistent analysis because the software behaves the same way all of the time, and it's objective. It doesn't have favorites. It doesn't have off days. So you've got consistent, holistic, and objective feedback delivered straight to the supervisor. So the supervisor can have those targeted and focused coaching conversations. When we think about human behavior, and Neris talked about EQ and Eric, really there's people are motivated by two sets of motivators. They've got the extrinsic motivators, you know, the money, the points, the praise, the winning of competition. But they've also got these intrinsic motivators, the sense of belonging, the sense of performing, the sense of doing a good job, the feeling that they've mastered their skills. And within any contact center, within any form of life, you know, understanding and providing, you know, a balance between these extrinsic and intrinsic motivators is really important. So, for example, you know, we provide scores. So you can use a score to stimulate competition. You know, who's going to get the best score for agent quality? Who's going to get the best score for some of the softer skills? You know, I am empathetic, and empathy is really, really important in these circumstances today with more and more vulnerable customers. And you can use the dashboards and scorecards created to be able to give a balance between extrinsic and intrinsic motivators. So my final slide, we talk about you know, advisor empowerment, and you know, I've briefly touched upon how technology can help with automation of 100% of the calls, providing coaching and evidence, etc. But it's really, what does it mean to the business? And the right-hand side of this slide is what's most important. That when you're able to provide an environment where your agents feel empowered, engaged, and satisfied, and happy in the role, they're more likely to stay with you, for 8.5 times more likely to stay than leave within a year. And these stats come from McKinsey. They're 4 times more likely to stay overall than colleagues who are less than satisfied. When you think about how many people work within the contact center industry in the UK, the power for your brand of doing the right things by your agents, you know, 16 times more likely to refer their friends, their colleagues, and their associates to your company. And going back to the intrinsic motivators, you know, 3.3 times more likely to feel empowered to do the right thing by the customer. So there's huge gains to be made for all contact centers to take this technology, such as the technology we provide, to make it part of your tools, your armory, to ensure you're doing the right thing by your agents. And back over to you, Rachel.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Frank. I'm just going to share a quick poll. Let me put that up and ask, would you like to see a demonstration of some of the solutions that Frank was talking about? Thank you very much. A great presentation. I really liked, you know, the one about coaching styles, how connector managers are high performers and increase employee engagement by up to 40%, and performance of employees by up to 26%. How, you know, technology helps build a culture of positive customer experience, can improve compliance and reduce risk, and empowers managers and agents to focus on coaching and self-improvement. So, you know, get in touch to find out. And also finally from McKinsey, you know, the quote, agent empowerment is a key driver in agent retention, employee referrals, and agent engagement. So, you know, definitely something to focus on.
It's all about, for me, Rach, it's all about, it's not the technology itself, it's how you use that technology. It's how that technology makes it easy for you to engage with the workforce.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Thank you. So we're heading over to our quiz now. So you need to be in our chat room. So let me just, so it's callcenterhelper.com/chat. You need to use the buttons within the chat room. We've got about half the people in the chat room logged in, so I'll give a few seconds to get in there now. Yeah. So it's cch.chat or a long version callcenterhelper.com/chat. So I'm going to start it. So, I've got my dashboard in the way. True or false? According to a Career Builder survey, 30% of employees are burned out on the job. Is it A, true, or B, false? You need to use the buttons in the chat room to click A, true, or B, false. So that's according to Career Builder survey, 30% of employees are burned out on the job. Last chance. There we go. Actually, most people getting that one wrong. The correct answer is B, false. The actual percentage is more than double that at 61%. The same survey also found that 31% of respondents report extremely high levels of stress at work. So next question, which of the following empowerment initiatives was used by fewer contact centres in 2020 than in 2019? Was it A, multi-skilling, B, knowledge champions, C, buddying agents, or D, banked hours? Which of the following empowerment initiatives was used by fewer contact centres in 2020 than in 2019? Was it A, multi-skilling, B, knowledge champions, C, buddying agents, or D, banked hours? So actually, no, it is actually multi-skilling. While the percentage of contact centres multi-skilling advisors has decreased from 83.9% in 2019 to 81.7% in 2020, it is still the most widely used empowerment initiative. A slight change at the top. So the next question is, what is the average advisor to team leader ratio within contact centres? Is it A, 9:1, B, 11:1, C, 13:1, or D, 15:1? So that's what is the average advisor to team leader ratio within contact centres? A, 9:1, B, 11:1, C, 13:1, or D, 15:1? Most people getting this one right. Yep, it was B, 11:1. Contact centres with low advisor to team leader ratios will invest more in forging relationships to increase engagement and empowerment. Those that go the other way will likely do so for efficiency purposes. And last question. How are most contact centres selecting the calls that they measure for coaching? Is it A, customer/agent feedback, B, random selection, C, speech analytics, or D, through call types? So that's how are most contact centres selecting the calls that they measure for coaching? Customer agent feedback, B, random selection, C, speech analytics, or D, through call type? Last chance. So it is, random selection. So B, while random selection still is the most common method, this is definitely not the best. Fortunately, more and more contact centres are improving their coaching strategy to improve performance and increase engagement. So the winner is Laura45. Congratulations. We will be in touch after the webinar with your prize. And now delighted to hand over to our third panellist, Benedict Miranda from Cytomax Group, if you wanted to take us through your presentation. I think you might be on mute. There we go.
Let me just share my presentation. Can you see it?
I can, yes. Perfect.
What we'll talk today is about our ways of empowering our frontline associates through what we have been doing in Cytomax. So I think it's quite interesting, this first slide, because it shows the importance of connection. And I think we spoke about that in the previous presentations. So it's really well connected. I think for Cytomax, creating connection and value in the conversation is in the centerpiece of everything that we do. So we can see here a lot of different programs that we have within Cytomax, and the centerpiece is our initiative called Max, which I will explain in a few seconds. And it's connected with all other initiatives that we have internally to be shared, that we are valuing the conversation that we have with our associates and we are with our clients in order to really provide excellent services to our clients, but at the same time promote a very good working environment within our company. So moving and going a little bit more in detail what we have done, we have a very interesting program which we call Cytomax. Cytomax stands for My Associate Experience. It's because we really believe that the experience of our associates is the experience of our customers. And for that reason, we have designed all of our culture around putting our associates in the center of everything that we do. Because us, as managers, sometimes we believe that we know what is best for our associates, for our frontline advisors, and that is not always true. So we can have an idea, but it's the people that are going through the experience that really know what they need and really can add a lot of value into the company by giving us important insights of things that we need to change or that we can create. So it has been very important for us to implement this new culture, which is our Max culture. So we want, it's a business-wide mindset, and it's also, we launched it in 2019, and it has transformed completely the experience of our associates. And how did we do it? So we created a global community. People enroll in the program to be part of the community, and this community has more than 3,000 members, and they represent the workforce in our company. So we call them Max Insiders, and the Max Insiders community is responsible for driving and is helping Cytel driving the innovation that we need and the transformation that the company needs. So what we do is in every initiative that we do within our company, we go and consult and involve a global community of Max Insiders so they can give us their perspective of how they would like things to change and how they can, with their experience, really add value to the initiatives that we have been doing. So for example, we have involved our Max Insiders community into the culture. So everything around our mission, our values, they were involved in the process of change. In terms of technology, we use them as well, and they were very helpful in telling us what they need to be able to increase their performance, their efficiency, and also to provide better support to our clients. So they have been taking part of the decision process of new technology, and also in building the workplaces of the future. We all know that the workplace has and will change forever, and that what we were seeing before will no longer be the same. So we have engaged our community in order to give us really positive and very interesting feedback on what they would like us to build as the workplace of the future. And we have worked that with them, and we have now a new concept which we called our Max Hub, which is a new workplace that really brings a lot of added value for the experience of our associates, and it's going to be the future, and it's already the future because it's already here. So the Max Hub is a new way of working in a new site, in a new environment to support our work from home environment. So this is a very interesting, and I think it has changed completely the mindset of the company in the last year, because it's quite a recent, it was done in 2019. And I'm going to show you an example of how the Max community is able to help us. So how does this work in terms of Max learning? How can we enable the development of skills of our employees by using the community of Max Insiders? So it all starts with us being able to have important information from speech analytics and interactive analytics, such as CoMiner, that gives us the drivers and the specific call types that we see that we are struggling and need development. And we identify that through the tool, and then engage immediately with our Max Insiders community, and through them crowdsource ideas of how we can evolve in the way that we handle those type of interactions with the customers, and then transform that into a very quick micro-learning, how we call it, because it's simple and not complex learning modules that we can set up in 7 days. And we use our learning development team that are engaged at that stage to develop that into a digital training model that we then quickly can pass into our community of associates handling that specific client, to be able to learn how to cope better and how to deal with those specific call types or interactions that we do with the customers. So by doing this, what we call our micro learning, by using this Max Insiders community, we have seen really great results that we can see by the tools, the interactive tools. So we see 74% reduction of customers' dissatisfaction language, which is quite an impressive result. And we also see 74% of improvement in the voice of customer feedback. This has, for us, has enabled, and I think it's a very quick and interesting way for us to enable our associates to develop their skills and to handle better the customers in a very simple way by using our Max Insiders community, which is something that we really think is in the center of the micro learning that we are doing. So this is a very quick example on how we can use the community and how we are using the community into developing the learning into what we have been doing for a lot of different clients that we have. So Max is all about leveraging our collective genius and taking advantage of the people which are more knowledgeable about the business, which is our frontline employees. And this has been quite successful, and it has helped us a lot as a company. So in the next slide, you can see that this is a program started in 2019. We already have more than 3,000 employees and improved our global ENPS by 14 points, and also decreased attrition in 1.1%, which is quite impressive. And I think this we have invested a lot, but the payback is here for us to see. And it has been really quite a ride, which I'm very proud of. I am really passionate about this initiative. And I think it has made a big change in the lives of our associates. And I feel that they are much more engaged within the company, and that we really value the feedback that they provide to us. So I know we don't have so much time. So I try to be really quick so that we have some time for some questions. And we also see here in this slide that this has not only the micro learning, but engage our team in some of our global programs such as CytoFit, which is our wellness program. And this has been really important at this time, because this is also important for the health and well-being of our community, that during this last couple of months, so already a year, has been really challenged through the pandemic. And I think this has been a really powerful way of engaging with our community.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Benedita. A lot of great information there. So I don't know if the audience wants to share, what did you like best about Benedita's presentation? I really enjoyed hearing how you've built a community to get feedback on different areas of the business, such as culture, technology and workplace, crowdsourcing and co-creation of activities to share future experiences. And I think, what was really important for me was that it was giving everyone a voice in the company. Very impressive to see 74% reduction of dissatisfaction language from customers, but 74% improvement in voice of the customer feedback. And heard in the news today that actually you've just won an award for Best Voice of the Employee Programme for Cytomax, so well done to you as well.
Thank you.
So going over to the chat room, lots coming through. A tip from Nicole, who said, we've started letting agents monitor one of their calls and emails each month. We compare the scores, which allow them to see where they've gone wrong. It helped them be more aware of how they are when speaking to clients on the phone. Frank, this is a great one, I think, for what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we believe that in the same way as Benedita, the people who can make the biggest difference are generally those in the front line. And we absolutely encourage, through our tools to letting agents, self-perform, to share, to see their own scores, to see where they can self-develop, and also where they sit amongst their peer group. So yeah, I think this is the right way to go.
Brilliant. So Mandy said, connect your values to performance. Ours are compassionate, driven, informed and brave. We built into the quality framework. We have awards each month for agents that have shown these values. Satisfaction went up as a result for agents and customers. So well done. Lisa said, we award our top performers with karma points that allows them to purchase gift cards. Our Philippines outsource group were able to purchase Christmas gifts that they normally wouldn't be able to buy. Benedict, what are your thoughts on these sorts of things?
I think they are amazing, really good and valuable inputs, and we do things very similar to some of the tips, and I think they are really valuable.
Fab. Oh, Neris, you're nodding along as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all of these things are really important, and it's just lovely to see the community sharing tips and learning from one another. I'm loving all of them so far.
Brilliant. So Brian said, create a whole organisation task force team to look at a joined up mental well-being strategy and get us shifted up the business operational priority list. So we've had a question in, actually directly to you, Neris. What would you recommend as a good EQ test metric?
So there's a couple online. If you just Google it, you can find some online. But that Insights is a specific program that categorizes people into blue, red, yellow, or green. But you might have heard of Myers-Briggs, those types of things. There's quite a lot. It's a HR question, really. Go and get your HR teams looking into it.
Yeah, I've done the Insight one a few times, so very interesting. So Lisa sent in a tip as well, saying our company offers mental health time in addition to, I think that's paid time off. This allows them to either take a day off for mental health or a couple of hours if needed. A great solution. Yeah, Frank, you're nodding along as well.
Yeah, I mean, we in this work from home environment that we're in, we've encouraged our employees to absolutely take an hour out, particularly during daylight hours. Go for a stroll. Perhaps chat to the neighbours. Do something that relieves the monotony of just work. So taking time. We take time out for the day. We haven't gone as far as an official mental health time out, but if anyone feels the needs support, needs to be away, they just do it.
Yeah, I think it's important to get away from your desk, because it is very easy when you're working from home that, oh, well, my computer's still there, I'll just keep going. Whereas actually you do need time out, fresh air. So Laura sent in a tip saying, poll your agents on how they want to be rewarded. If you run a contest, always survey them after to see if they liked it and how you can improve. As leaders, we think we know, but especially in these times, agents are wanting to be rewarded in different ways. Always check with them, as it's the best way to ensure that they're happy and motivated and you're getting the return on your investment. Benedict, yeah, you're agreeing.
I think it's spot on. I think this is absolutely true. And we have had the experience that we did some awards and that the people were not happy after that, because sometimes, again, we think we know, but we really do not know where associates really want. So it's very important to get their feedback.
Yeah, Neris also agreeing.
Yeah, I've got it wrong so many times. That's why I'm agreeing. I've done lots and lots of incentives, and and it is absolutely right, Laura. You've got to reach out and say, how do you want to be motivated? And there'll be pockets of different agents, some of whom want to go out on the beers and others who want a book voucher. You've got different personalities in your environment, in your agent community, that need different types of motivations, like Frank was talking about, really.
Yeah, I think we've got last chance for a final question. There's a lot of talk about resilience training for agents. Do you think you can train for resilience? Neris?
Oh, I was going to say Benedita. Go on.
Okay.
I do, but
So I think we can train for resilience. There are some training modules that we already have and already are giving to our employees that's train for resilience, and it's a very important, I would not say factor, but important skill that can be developed for sure.
Yeah, everyone's agree. Fab. Well, unfortunately, we've reached the top of the hour, and so I just want to ask, thank you very much, everyone. What did you like best about today's webinar? If you could put that in the chat room. Today's winning tip is from Nikki, who said, we've created virtual lunch hall via Teams to simulate the canteen or breakout area. It's an area you can log into whilst having your break, and it encourages the social interaction. So brilliant tip. Thank you very much for that. We'll be getting in touch after the webinar. Just a reminder, if you could complete our survey, it's only 4 questions long, just a bit of feedback. A reminder that we have taken a recording, so you'll be able to access that later on this afternoon. We will be back next week with 10 new ideas to reduce contact volumes. But to today's webinar, thank you very much to all our speakers today. To Neris Caulfield, thank you very much for your great insights.
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And to Frank Sherlock from Cornminer, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure, as always. Thank you.
And brilliant. And to Benedita Miranda from Cytomax Group, thank you very much for joining us for your first webinar.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Fab. Okay, we will see you all next week. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.